With continued fallout and negativity toward Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, this is swiftly becoming a market for the players. Players who go looking are starting to find savings in the singles market. Welcome back everyone, MTG Moxman here, and thank you once again for coming and hanging out with me on my channel today. We're only 290 subscribers away from hitting that 14,000 subscriber mark. Thank you to everyone who's helping make this happen. For those viewers who watch each and every day, to the new viewers hitting the subscribe button, leaving comments in the comment section, and of course giving my videos a thumbs up. My Patreon members as well as my YouTube membership members, guys, this is amazing. Thanks again to each and every one of you. With the current state of the MTG finance world, with the negativity surrounding Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro, there are going to be players who are starting to notice that deals are to be found. From your local LGS to players bailing out of the game and selling off collections of singles cards on places like eBay, Craigslist, wherever you happen to look. This is a window for some players to get certain cards. And some cards are definitely more desirable than other cards in the secondary market. A lot of players are starting to focus on cards that will be fitting into commander decks. Maybe modern, maybe standard. Whatever format that player happens to play in. There will be certain cards that will be more desirable in the long run for those players. And when they start looking, they're noticing deals are starting to appear. They're not huge yet, but the market is starting to show where it's at. And the lowering of prices is just getting started and will continue in that trend for quite a while until we see what's actually happening in the market in the next 90 days. And the fallout that actually will happen. The reaction to the market after the M30 collector boosters get opened en masse. And we see what happens. On today's video, guys, we're going to go through some cards you probably should be watching in our card watch video. These are cards that are all-time lows, very desirable in certain formats for players, and some people may not recognize how cheap some of these cards have become. So let's go ahead, let's take a few moments to look at these cards, and I can't wait to see everyone's comments in the comment sections, and if I've missed some, make sure you mark that down and put it there, because I'll be taking a look after this. When players take a look at Felwar Stone from the Dark, in the past, this card reached a high of $40. Right now, you can find it for $21 Canadian, moderately played. The market price is $18.51. This card from the Dark is played in multiple formats, everything from Commander to Modern. It's been reprinted many times, which means it doesn't feel very special. But when you start looking to bling out your deck, players are starting to go after older cards like Felwar Stone. Because they've been reprinted so much, the value has started to lag down. And the original one from the Dark is also falling in price right now. It continues to dip down every day by a few pennies here and there. Each month it goes down by $1 or so. If you keep a close eye on this card, it's probably going to hit the $15 level before you know it. So for some players, that's going to be a perfect price point to go ahead and pull the trigger on a card like that and finally add it to a commander deck you've always wanted to, make it look a little more special. Now our next card, and not just the Ancient Silver Dragon, but Commander Legends Baldurs Gate, because of the fiasco that happened with it, it wasn't well liked or well received, even though it's a very large set. Especially the price of the collector packs was just ridiculous. But cards like Silver Dragon were not open that much, and the other cards of the Ancient Dragons are all harder to get than is normal for a set like this. But you can see the trend now for this type of card, it is going down, but not all of them. I think the Copper Dragon actually is slightly still trending upwards, but a lot of the Ancient Dragons are slowly trending down in the current MTG finance, environment we're in right now. It's an amazing card to add, and I know for my son's deck that we're working on to build it into a Dragon Commander deck, of course I picked it up. I paid it higher than this, obviously, but with the prices going the way they are, other people who are hoping to build Dragon Tribals or start gathering cards for different decks, your time is probably coming soon where this card will go below the $20 US mark, and where you'll be able to find it here in Canada for around the $20 mark in the next several months as the market starts to unfold and cards that are more desirable get picked up, where less desirable cards get left behind. Now, Jace the Mind Sculptor. I still remember the World Wake version and just thinking how amazing this card was. It got banned, the price tanked, they unbanned it, hey, the price went back up. It's had a yo-yo ride, but right now, it's not considered that good of a card by today's standards because back in the day, there wasn't a lot of ways to kill a Planeswalker. It was difficult. Now killing a Planeswalker is a dime a dozen. It's very easy to do. But like any card, with the right deck built around it, with the right protections in place, especially with being able to phase and stuff nowadays, there are ways to save cards like this to make them work inside decks. And although the price is falling, all it takes is one or two cards to appear that protect Planeswalkers better, and before you know it, cards like this hit that high desirability again and get factored into winning formats inside. So it's a great card to think about. I actually think this card is going to continue to trend downward. So although it's a card to watch, it's not a card I would buy right now. I would wait to see if this hits the $50 Canadian level, which means the market price in the US would be around $38 to $39. I still think it may hit that low. Now our next card is Sensei's Dividing Top, an amazing card, but in particular, just like Felwar Stone, I'm showing you the original from Champions of Kamigawa. $30 Canadian for a near mint copy. The market price is $22.08 US, but look at how the price is trending down. And yes, the foil will be expensive. An original OG foil, you're going to pay for it, guys. They were really hard to pull back then. But the way the market's going, this card could probably hit below 20 bucks in the next few months. Look at that, just boom, down to the floor after it got reprinted, right? As soon as we saw it come out again, that's what happens sometimes. Cards like this just have no desirability. People forget there's an original version, and by the time other players recognize it, a card like this could be bought. But again, in this market environment, I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to stuff like this. They're kind of leaving it alone and waiting to see how this market will settle out in the next 90 days, not the next couple. Now, Yavimaya Cradle Growth is a card I've been watching since it was brought out in Modern Horizons 2. You can see here the market price of $7.71 is bargain basement. The card still has a lot of playability going forward. So if you don't have a play set of 4, this is probably the best opportunity you're ever going to have. And I've actually said that before about this card when it was like the $10 level. But nobody could have expected what would happen on the market. And this card could actually still go lower. It doesn't have to stay here. Right now, there's no real deck being used to build around it. But if the other color wheel of this gets built, if we have a blue one made and a white one and a red one, then we're talking a whole different world for cards like this. And Wizards might be more prompted to do it to kind of save face in the next couple sets in early 2024. It won't be happening in 2023, but possibly 2024. They've already got everything made up right now for 2023. Nothing could change. All right, let's go ahead. Here we go. Displacer Kitten, another card that's been trending down. I remember being $20, $25. We talked about it in some of the Hot 10 videos we do. And here we are, 12 bucks Canadian near mint. Market price is $7.14. The kitty needs to get a little bit of love. So when you look at the cat, it's the idea of its avoidance ability, which most people really enjoy, because if you can get this on the board and protect it, and then start exiling non-land permanents you control and returning them, you can cause a multitude of effects to happen inside certain deck constructions, which is amazing. So I can see why this card is desirable. Right now, most people aren't talking about it. Some of the local places are sold out and have not restocked, which means, again, this set was not opened as much as people might like to think, although there have been some sales, which just means people buy it and hold on to it. They're not cracking these right now. Prices like this could recover at some point, but I think the kitten, is going to keep going down. All right, Hall of the Storm Giants, one of my all-time favorites. Now, I really enjoyed what this card did for me when it was inside of Arena, Adventures in Forgotten Realms, and it's really, we're talking about that ward ability, all right? A late game saver, being able to pump up a giant 7/7 with ward 3 for blocking, for attacking, is kind of a really nice ability, and it doesn't have to come into play tapped, depending on how things work out. So when I saw a card like this and it's dropping down to $2.50 Canadian, the market's $1.18. It's not just this version, but the full art alternate kind of storybook version from back in the day. That's an amazing one, but also the Amper Stamp one. The really special one has kind of come down in price. I just wanted to mention those in case you're a player who always kind of wanted to get them, but a play set is like $10 in Canada. It's very inexpensive to get this card. So if those who are interested in a card like this for commander decks or for future builds, it's something to keep an eye on because it's a late game saver if you need it. Now, Food Chain. All right, now this is the Double Masters 2022 version, $28 Canadian near mint, market price $18.95 US. Well, look at that trend. Food Chain is a good card, guys. I remember when this thing first came out, I saw it used against me. I was like, that blew my mind. It's been reprinted, of course, and because of those reprints and because of where the market is, this is at a very affordable level right now. This is at a point where players are probably going to start taking notice of it. Maybe not buying yet, though, because I think in the current market state, things are actually going to fall lower. I think this thing could easily hit the $15 US mark and around the $22 to $23 Canadian mark. Doesn't have to be bought now, but it's one of those cards, if you're interested, to keep an eye on it. Okay, Treasure Vault. This is, again, Adventures in Forgotten Realms. Oh. Now, I never really made this card work for me in Arena, but in Commander, this can be put into any deck, guys. It's a colorless tapped land, okay? Like, it goes anywhere, but it doesn't come into play tapped, and you can sacrifice it with double X to create treasure tokens, okay? And that can be a really big thing for a late game, big pump up and not to mention, it's instant speed. Right, like you're doing this in between stuff. They can't stop you. It's not a sorcery or anything, so it's kind of a good card to have around, and it fits into any deck, right? And when you check the price and you see it's like $5.03 US, $8 Canadian, this is kind of one of those cards. I don't think it's broken yet. I don't think anything's really major happened, but you don't know what cards like this, where they will lead in the future when somebody finds other cards that connect with it or brew well with it. Interesting card to have around. Now, Plaza of Heroes. This card I remember so many people buying into. At the very beginning, they knew in Dominaria United this was going to be a big card. And the reason I want to mention it today, yes, the price has dropped, which is good, but it has those three abilities. It taps for mana. It can add 1 mana of any color if you're playing a legendary spell, right? And it can add 1 color among legendary permanents you control, but that bottom ability, exile the Plaza of Heroes, target legendary creature gains hexproof and indestructible. So being able to save a creature is a big deal. And depending on what you're doing, right now what we've seen is with Brothers War coming out, right? We have Brothers War right there on the cusp. Things are happening. We had Dominaria United with a lot of soldiers. And I don't know if you guys noticed, some of that stuff is legendary. Now, with the Brothers War and Dominaria both having soldiers, you can see it's meant for some kind of soldier construction. It's making it more playable. When you have cards like that, they're going to protect it. With Darian, it's the same thing. You can give all your guys hexproof. There are ways to save your creatures from big blanket wipeout spells, and that's interesting to see happen right now. I don't know if Plaza Heroes will have a big life right now in standard rotation, but I think it may have play in Commander as the years go by and more cards are made that kind of fit like a puzzle piece to make this card work. If it continues to fall in price, it's a good time to grab that card. So as you guys can see, with the market the way it is, there's a lot of opportunity for players who are looking for cards to save a few dollars right now, maybe upgrade some decks. And it may not be palatable for everyone to do that right now. It may not be possible, but for those who do have that opportunity, who can make that happen, I can see why they're taking advantage of it. And that's why some of these cards are cards you should be taking a look at just in case for future builds. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you for hanging out with me on the channel, and I look forward to another video tomorrow and spending some time with you guys in the comments section. Have a great day, everyone. And of course, guys, this is that moment where I get to give a big shout out to all the fantastic patrons on my channel who make this possible, make the content happen. Thanks again. Welcome back. You guys are here at the end. So close! And then, after we get past that 14K mark, I'm closing in on a personal goal of 15,000. It's close. And then, anyway, who knows what happens after that, but I can't help but get a little excited. I'm going to plan a little something, I think. Yeah, you're here at the end, so I don't mind telling you. We're gonna plan a little something. I think we have to. When we hit 15,000, we have to plan a little something to have some fun with for people on the channel. Can't help myself. It's just the way I am. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for putting that boomstick in the comments section and being part of that special group of people. You guys are awesome. Thanks for making this happen. All right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I will. Don't worry. I'll be here. I'll be here. Gotta make a grilled cheese for the kid. Anything else? Do I have chores? No chores right now. No lawn to cut when it's fall, baby. Oh, leaf pickup.